Our next guest, Ray Hanania, because I'm told by Todd, who's the program director here, that he's a really funny guy, and I love people that have the ability to make fun, not only of other people, everyone can do that, but somebody who can laugh at themselves. And Ray is somebody who is a journalist. He writes a syndicated column for the Jerusalem Post and other papers around the world. He himself is of Palestinian American descent. Is that right, Ray? Palestinian American?
Yep.
Which means your parents were born in that region, or you were born in that region and immigrated here. How do you get that name?
They were born in Bethlehem, which makes Jesus my cousin, and my dad is from Jerusalem.
Well, wait a minute. If Jesus is your cousin, what does he make me? I'm a Jew. Hold on a minute.
It makes you a potential fourth wife for me. That's what I'm hoping
Oh,
for.
no. And I understand you married a Jewish girl.
Yes, but she thinks I'm Puerto Rican, so let's not spread the word.
So do you have children together?
Yes, we actually have one daughter, Haifa, from a prior marriage, and Allison, my wife, and I have a son who is Jewish, and she calls him Aaron, and I call him Abdullah.
Oh, very funny. And how does he work it out in terms of how old is he now?
He's 10 years old. He goes to Hebrew school, speaks Hebrew. We'll probably have a bar mitzvah, I'm hoping, and he understands both sides.
And so that's interesting. And so were you raised to be an observant Muslim? I mean, how did your...
Well, actually, I'm Orthodox Christian.
Oh, you're not a Muslim?
Yeah, no, which is okay. I mean, either way, I've been a very open... my mother's from Bethlehem, went to the Church of the Nativity. My mother's family are part of the priests that, run the Church of the Nativity, so... they have a long history there.
They certainly do. And as probably your wife does if she goes all the way back as well.
Yeah, yes, she would. For her family is Resnick, but we get along. It's amazing how we get along so well. We don't agree about politics. We have our disagreements, but the disagreements are a lot different than the kind of disagreements we see in the Middle East.
So, all right, so now tell me something, because I heard, you have to tell me if this is true. Todd told me that you, Ray, were hearing on the Arab street today that there's a denial that we really got Osama bin Laden and that there's a body double?
Well, there's this skepticism. And this is not unusual, I don't think. Because I grew up in a generation where I still don't believe Lee Harvey Oswald was the only guy involved in the killing of JFK.
Okay.
I don't care what they tell me, but
okay.
I think that the circumstances around the killing of Osama bin Laden have opened up the door to a lot of speculation, and I think that there's some plausibility to it in the eyes of many people that, maybe they didn't really kill Osama bin Laden. Maybe this is some kind of, political stunt. I mean, it certainly does a lot of great political benefit. You can see a political benefit for President Barack Obama. You can see a lot of political benefit for the United States. So there's this belief that maybe, I don't know who they killed. I believe what I hear in the media. Don't you? When a government official tells you something, we just believe them?
So here's the thing, Ray. So yesterday I was on the air and I said pretty much exactly that.
Right.
That it's really difficult. I'll tell you what struck me. Maybe this resonated with you too. It was a little thing that bothered me. In the initial statement from Barack Obama himself,
right,
he made a statement that sounded plausible and truthful. And then he said that he was buried at sea in accordance with Islamic ritual.
Right.
And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. There's no Islamic ritual that would require somebody to be buried at sea.
Yeah,
So right away, the way he said it sounded like a little bit of falsehood, hopefully with a lot of truth. But it annoyed me because I thought, then just say you did what you did because you didn't want to create a shrine or whatever reasons
absolutely.
you had.
I agree.
Right? But
I totally agree. I mean, the thing that bothered me the most was, and this is a tough thing to do, when a Afghani or a Pakistani tweeter actually breaks the news that they heard that bin Laden was killed, and then the president's announcement comes during the heightened moment of Donald Trump's Celebrity Apprentice, when everybody's wondering who is going to be fired, and suddenly Donald Trump is thrown off the air, and we know Trump is going to run, or has said that he's going to run for president against Barack Obama. there are a lot of factors there, and, cynicism is a very healthy part of democracy, in my opinion.
And it's very healthy from the point of view of press as well.
Right. It keeps them, listen, that's the only way you can keep government officials on their toes. You should never just believe anything a government official says. We should always question. And even if we're wrong in questioning is a good exercise in, transparency in government. It's so important. I covered City Hall in Chicago for almost 17 years, and skepticism, reluctance to believe have always led to exposing those few moments when politicians have been lying.
Yeah, just those few, especially here in Chicago.
And it's probably more in Chicago than most other cities.
So, okay, and you know what? It was interesting because I was chatting before on the program with Annette Flournoy, who is the news director here at WVON, and I was asking her about the intricacies of Chicago politics and the precincts and the wards and the greasing of whatever happens to keep the machine going. But so, as somebody who's a journalist and you're syndicated for the Jerusalem Post and you have your eyes and ears, do you speak Arabic?
I understand it. My mother only spoke Arabic to me, for the first almost, I'd say, maybe 8 years of my life, to the point where I'd ask my Dad, who is this woman and what is she telling me?
All right, so Ray, I subscribe to something called the Palestinian Media Watch and some other enterprises.
That one is an Israeli organization, I think, though.
It is, but
we should be fair about that because, my argument has always been that there isn't really any balance in that debate. But go ahead. What they do is they translate, and they apparently have a lot of authenticity for the translations. They use, by the way, Arabs to do the translating. I don't always agree with their translations, and there are other sources that I would go to. But listen, that is besides that. Opens up a whole new door for a debate. Well, what I was saying is it wasn't just them, but there were a bunch of news organizations today that were translating the difference between what, for example, an organization like the Muslim Brotherhood. But there are quite a few organizations were saying in Arabic about the assassination, about the passing of Osama bin Laden, versus how they couched it in English and using words like peace in English, but using very different kinds of phrasing and very different kinds of tone and meaning in Arabic. Yeah, and that's an interesting thing, though, about Arabic, because trying to translate Arabic to English is really impossible. Why? You could get close, but, sometimes close is a difference between a nuance of the meaning of a word. Now, I read the statement from Hamas a few days ago after the announcement or last night after the announcement from Obama on Sunday night, and I was upset that they were so praiseworthy of Obama, and I wrote a column, not in the Jerusalem Post, but I wrote it on PalestineNote.com, which is a Palestinian online news source that I write for, and really took them to task, saying that this is stupid, this is ridiculous. That type of
that they were praising. That they were praising Obama. That's what you said. Praising Obama, or you meant Osama?
Praising Osama. Maybe there was a Freudian.
You said, using
my comedy act.
Well, listen, I have to tell you, the B and the S are getting very confused. I can't tell you how many journalists have to keep saying it to themselves and we step on ourselves because it sounds like the same word. Thanks for catching that, because they were praising Osama bin Laden and condemning Obama and condemning Osama's killing. Okay. And that was very upsetting to me. To praise him as a martyr, as a stand-up Muslim, really is insulting to me as a Palestinian. And it's the kind of thing that our extremists in the Arab and Palestinian community, these small voices, have been doing to destroy any future that we want to have, as Palestinians with a Palestinian state. So I addressed that in what I thought would be the appropriate place on a Palestinian website, read by Palestinians, and it's gotten a lot of support. Now, when you write, do you write in English?
Yes, I do it all, because I'm a big believer that one of the big problems with the Arab world is they do everything in Arabic, and they're not reaching the audiences that they need to reach. And one of the ways that they need to reach those audiences is by translating everything into English. I think Al Jazeera English is one of the best satellite television stations from the Middle East, and I watch that a lot.
I'm talking with Ray Hanania.
The Hebrew word, you got it right.
That's how I was going to pronounce it, but I think you pronounce it differently here.
No, that's it, Hanania.
Hanania, or I would say Hanania. I'm not sure really, but okay, Hanania. And Ray lives here in Chicago, and he is a journalist who writes a internationally syndicated column and reflects with humor, but certainly with introspection on what's going on in the Middle East. And Ray, I thought it would be really interesting to hear from you today. So tell me how you view this with all of the different parsings of your identity. Do you honestly, in your gut, believe that the government is lying to us, or do you believe that they got him?
No, I believe that they did get him. I think that I'm a little concerned about one aspect, and that was where the initial reports from the White House and that were leaked to the media, and those became the foundation of some of our understanding today that he resisted and he was killed. I don't believe we ever went in to arrest him. I believe we went in to kill him.
And now, what do you think of that, if we in fact did that? Does that upset you? For example, it's very interesting you should say that, because today happens to be in the obituaries of the New York Times. They had a huge obituary for the death of the judge of the Adolf Eichmann trial, the notorious trial in Israel of many years ago. And at the time when Mossad got him, a lot of people criticized Mossad for grabbing him instead of assassinating him.
I felt just the opposite. I think bringing him to trial, and, obviously the only concern about the trial was, would it be fair?
Correct.
And I think it was fair, but I think that would have been a legitimate debate. But outside of that, I think that there really is a need to be different from the people that we're fighting. The column that I wrote for I think it was the Jerusalem Post this week, is we shouldn't become the people we hate. Or I should say, we shouldn't become the people that hate us. We shouldn't become the terrorists. We don't have to.
So do you think that it would have been possible to capture him?
I think we should have at least tried. I do not believe they tried. I think they kind of said, well, he resisted, so we shot him. I don't for a moment believe, and I don't think it's paranoia, I do not believe for a moment that they ever intended to capture him. I think that was a mistake. I think if they would have captured him and put him on trial, it wouldn't have made any difference in terms of
the ultimate outcome.
Argued that, this would cause people to want to commit acts of terrorism against us. They're going to do that anyway.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And also, you can't keep living in fear. I'm done with the fear thing. I'm done with it.
And listen, we're better people. We just don't kill people.
Yeah.
We kill people when we have to kill them, not when we don't have to. And I'm not convinced that this was a time when it would have been prudent or we had to kill him. I think what we did with Saddam Hussein was appropriate. We captured him. We put him on trial. I'm not quite sure he got a fair trial, but...
Well, he got a trial by his own peers. He got a trial by his own peers.
Fairer than what he gave any of the people that lived under him. So
that's right.
I think that, we would have been better off. And now what are we stuck with? A press conference this morning with Jay Carney, the White House press secretary, where he has to take all these questions. Well, why didn't you take him prisoner? Where are the photos?
And where's the body? And why did you put him at sea?
JFK all over again. I don't mean to compare the two people.
Right.
But the circumstances, all my life, I grew up believing that we never got the truth about JFK. It's impacted my politics. I'm born in the 50s. JFK's assassination was a major moment in my life. This is going to be a major moment in the lives of many Americans. And I have no doubt that they're going to go through whatever influences this is going to have on them that I had, not believing that we got the true story on JFK.